intro to play. All right, y'all, we're back for another episode of the Trial and Error podcast. I'm Brian.
Fearless here.
And today what we're going to do is we're talking about kind of the state of things. So it's a little bit kind of a looser flow to the show, but we're going to be talking about what's going on in the world right now. But before we get too far into it, with the government shutdown, a lot of people are going to be lose a lot of the support that they've had. And I need to put something out there. Most of the people that get benefits in this country have jobs. They're working.
Mm-hmm.
Like the benefits in and of themselves are not sufficient enough for somebody just to live on without any other means of support. And the ones that have that level where they need that level means to support are either children, disabled people, or elderly people who can't otherwise work. And so we're kind of turning this thing on its ear. But we wanted to provide resources for people out here who are going to be affected by what's happening with this government shutdown. And we're going to get political here, so we're back into it. So Fearless has a list of local pantries and stuff. We have the Bellevue Food Pantry, of course. That's one that, I've been to and talked to the people that work there. They're always in need of help. You're going to be surprised at a lot of the military people that the government supposedly cares about are going to be a lot of the ones that are going to be needing this level of support. Yeah. But that's not the only game in town. And so, and it's not a competition. All these pantries work together. They're supporting each other.
Yeah.
So, all right, Fearless, go ahead.
They do. So I was thinking, can we put these? Should we put these in our notes? What do you want to put these?
Drop them in so copy and paste them into the comments because that's going to post across all over.
Okay.
So just say resources like food pantries and other resources, and then paste it into the comments.
Yep. Okay, it's all in there. There's a bunch though. In there. So, but either way, there you guys go. Like I said, I just kind of wanted to make sure that that you guys had some resources. I was talking to my friend Jessica today, and she told me, she said, man, somebody already hit her up asking for assistance, and she's like, yeah, not a problem. And she's like, what do you need? Like, 200-300. And apparently this family gets about $900 and some dollars. She's like, dude, yeah, I don't have that. So, which is, understandable too. But I also think though that this is the time, I don't want to say unfortunately, but I think that this is a time that we have to show our government that, dude, like, we'll work together. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like we elected these individuals to do nothing. And they haven't been doing much for years. And the fact that we're seeing a lot of this stuff play out with this, and people are hating Donald Trump, hating this dude. But I don't. And the reason why I don't is because although I did not vote for him, I am an American, and unlike a lot of us as Americans, I take accountability for what we do. Okay? We voted for this guy, and we knew the stuff that he was going to do because he told us he was going to do it. And this is what this, as a life coach, as a philosopher, this also goes into that thing when a person tells you, when people tell you who they are, you should probably listen.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes
Good.
Sometimes the worst thing that could ever happen to you is getting exactly what you asked for.
Exactly what you asked for.
And so people asked for this, and people were saying, hey, you know, this is what he said he's going to do. Are you sure you want that? And they're like, it's fear tactics and it's just talk. This ain't talk, y'all. And
Yep.
so a lot of times when you're choosing to put somebody into a leadership role or a leadership position, if they tell you explicitly what they're going to do, take them seriously, no matter how much of a joke you think they are. And the man explicitly told you it was going to happen. And I think what happens is a lot of times people dissociate from consequences. Like human beings have a hard time associating actions and consequences if there's a gap in time between the two things. And so a lot of people were like, it's just all talk. He's just and that it's not talk. And he's not talking. Like this is not.
He ain't talking. We passed that.
And when the first time you saw that bro didn't really understand how it's there, but he's still talking about that likes a solution. That should be your sign. Here's the analogy I do like this. All right. I think a lot of times especially when it comes to politics, we're so used to stagnation just because there's a lot of political jockeying back and forth and whatnot, people capitulating to their bases. One of the things we say, I just want somebody to do something. Now, here's the problem with that. If I give a chimpanzee a chainsaw and then let him under the hood of my car, he's going to do something.
Yeah.
What will happen? An action will happen. Is this the action that I want? Do we want to give the orangutan a loaded shotgun at the kid's birthday party?
Right.
He's going to do something. Just because somebody is doing something doesn't mean that that's a good thing. And I feel like our politics have been reduced to that because we're so used to this weird stagnation where nobody wants to, everybody's jockeying for votes. Everybody's jockeying for what's going to carry them through the next election, that it ends up becoming maintaining their power as opposed to doing governance effectively. And that's what happens. So we're sitting there, well, I've heard this so many times from people, well, at least he's doing something. Well, okay, then let's bring on the chimp. I'm going to turn him loose under your car with some power tools and see the something that he does. Do you want that something to happen? And I think that's the trap we fall into in this country, where we're so used to saying, well, it's stagnated up there and on Capitol Hill and all this other stuff, and nobody's doing anything. Somebody's doing something.
Right.
That's not you. Sometimes, what did Chris Rock say? The worst relationships are exciting relationships. Like boring relationships are amazing.
Yes.
You don't want that level of excitement when you're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar enterprise like the United States.
Right.
Like you don't want excitement.
No, and that's so funny that you say that, because that's literally the thing that was popping in my head, is that like, no, I like politics, government should be boring.
I want it boring.
It should not be. It should not be entertainment. I mean, you're gonna have people. You're gonna be entertainment for somebody, but you don't want to entertain me.
Yeah,
like in general, where it's kind of like what we have today. Like before with George Bush, it was a lot of soundbite. It was a lot of this, a lot of that, or whatever. But I was around during September 11th. I know where I was.
Yeah.
Right. I know what happened beforehand with the voting. I know what happened afterwards with the voting. Right. I remember all of that. We thought that George Bush was the worst president ever. I mean, ever. What I wouldn't pay to have him back.
Right.
I'm just saying what I would not pay to have that man back.
I'm a political nerd. I'm actually excited about boring politics. Like I like politics. Here's what I'm gonna tell you though. I I miss not seeing the president on TV every day. Like I miss where I could go a week and not have to hear about what hijinks or wackiness he's up to. Oh, what did the president get into now? I don't want to see that like every single day. And but I think a lot of people their brain got bored by it. Like, oh man, nothing's happening, right? Like, oh, well, if nothing's happening, then things must be bad. Sometimes you don't want things to happen. You just want things to just not happen, and we quietly meander from one day to the next, and you're able to live your life and achieve your dreams and all this other stuff without the politics coming in. Now, here's the other side to it. When you're in what they consider the marginalized communities, your existence is always political. Whether your existence is in a movie, whether it's on a TV show, whatever, there's always a political nature to your existence. And for a lot of people, we get tired of having our right to exist as a human being on the ballot every 4 years. So there's an element of it where there is a political aspect to our lives, but I don't want to have to turn on the news like, oh my God, what happened last night? What did he say? What did he do? And I think people are mistaking, moving forward as progress, or they're mistaking progress as moving, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Movement isn't progress. Movement is movement. And so, like I said, I miss boring presidents where I didn't have to see them on TV, like where the worst thing about the president was he wore a suit that was the wrong color.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or mustard on the hamburger. Like you wanted Dijon. I miss those days.
Yeah.
As opposed to the president just unilaterally declared war on Venezuela. What?
Right. Or gave them a crap ton of money to help out their economy.
Right.
And that shit on the one here. And then you have a bunch of individuals that are that feel away about the farmers because you had a lot of the farmers during the voting election saying, hey, we're gonna vote for him, and he's one of us, he knows what things are gonna go. And I think Dave Chappelle probably said it best. He's not going to Washington for you. Like he don't give a fuck about y'all. He's going for Dave. If you got double M's, that's what he's going for. He don't give a fuck about the rest of y'all. And I was just reading that his family over who was it, Trump Jr. had a business that I think he had for $4 million.
Yeah.
That same company, that same exact company now is worth $4 billion.
Yeah.
It just got a huge, one of the biggest contracts. One of the biggest contracts. And the article was talking about how this is extremely inappropriate. This is one of the largest conflicts of interest. Let me explain something to y'all. Well, let me tell y'all something. That is also the reason why they're hoping to basically abolish and destroy the Constitution and the 22nd Amendment, because if they're able to do this and Trump is elected again, which technically it's not supposed to happen, but the shit that I'm seeing now, whatever.
I got something for you on that one. Continue.
Okay, but this is how I see this. A lot of the people who are doing what's going on right now, if I were running, if I would become president, I would throw their asses in jail. Period. You will go to jail. Off top. Like, I'm not even playing with you. I will put your asses in jail. President or not, you got to go to jail.
Well, what we're seeing is I don't know if it's Secretary of Agriculture. It's one of those appointed positions.
Correct.
That has ties to Argentina, like has business interests literally in Argentina. And even in a halfway functioning democracy, there was a time where that would have caused some level of consternation where people have said, okay, this is completely holistically inappropriate. This person needs to be removed from that post. Those days don't exist now. And so it's really interesting. There's a guy I follow, Farming While Beige. If you ever get a chance, watch him. He's a black farmer. And a lot of his stuff is just talking about the economics and business of running a farm. And basically pushing it back against the concept that small farms are the way to go. Because, you know, like he's talking about how economically unviable and unstable small farms are. But then he goes into the politics of it too, where he's talking about, and the most recent video I saw, he was talking about a lot of the beef farmers. He's like, you see them on TV, and they're mad because of the tariffs and whatnot. He's like, I understand it. He's like, let me explain something to you. And he pointed out one creator in particular where the guy was on there talking about, I'm gonna end up losing the farm because of the tariffs. And he's like, that man ain't losing the farm. He's like, poor people don't start farms. He's like, he ran it down. He ran the politics down. Or ran the economics down. He's like, poor people do not start farms. He said, what he's saying is really what he'll have to do is liquidate some assets to make himself whole again. He's not losing anything. He could sell off parts of his farm and be out completely debt free within 5 minutes. It's like, it's not that big of a deal. He's like, here's the difference. He's like, he held up his wallet. He's like, I have $40 right here. He's like, but this thing over here costs $250,000. This building over here costs $150,000. I'm inheriting this much land here, and I have 100 acres over here. He's like, I am broke, but that's because my money's in my business.
Right.
He's like, and he basically, his brother, he's like, I grew up in Southwest DC. He's like, my best friend is this, my best friend is that. And he started listing off these high paying jobs. He's like, I'm never going to see poverty. He's like, but I need people to stop pretending like they're going to be poor because of what's happening right now. He's like, the real poor people are the ones that are being affected most by this. He's like, a lot of the people that are on here wailing about it the most, especially when it comes from the aspect of the large farms. He's like, they're going to be all right. And that's one interesting thing. And then the other interesting thing is the social media guy, the social media, it was a trend for a second where black farmers were popping in and saying, hey, guess what? So they're cutting off all the farm welfare. I didn't get it anyway. We're going to be all right. You know what I'm saying? So that's one side of it. From the economic standpoint, I think a lot of people don't understand. Again, we talk about the action and the consequences, right? They don't understand, like when we talk when we talk about how the tax bill was structured. Remember that entire tax thing that they passed, the 2017, the tax cuts in 2017, right?
Okay.
That benefited business owners narrowly. Like it benefited me. It benefited you, business owner. Who it didn't benefit is everybody else. They got a tax cut, but it didn't necessarily benefit them because it shifted the tax burden to them. So the tax cut was buried in that tax burden. A lot of people voted for this thinking that what they're voting for is to harm people that don't look like them, or the people that don't look like them are going to be the ones impacted. And now they're in the crosshairs and it's not feeling great. That's kind of where I'm at. It's kind of a rant, but that's where I'm at right now. I'm sitting there watching people get what they asked for and they're mad about it and they're looking to lash out. That government shutdown is always going to happen, bro. Like that's just my opinion.
For sure.
It was always going to happen
because
of the legalities of firing all those federal employees, most of whom the entire concept of federal employees, that is actually what elevated a lot of black people out of poverty and put them firmly into the middle class. Federal jobs programs in DC specifically. That's why it's always been a bone of contention for specific people in the political arena. But that was always going to happen. Like there was always going to be an excuse for the government to get shut down because that allows them to do things that they want to do. It goes back to the red flag distraction thing, right? Government shut down. We're all going to focus on that, but we're not going to pay attention to all the things that are getting changed about the country, all these things that are getting eliminated, all that stuff. So that's where I'm at. What you got, Fearless?
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Yeah, I mean, just kind of looking around and talking to people that are on food stamps or whatever. Man, it's a scary situation for them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really scary. And again, you can save. What you say? I mean, here's the other thing. If your food stamps get cut off in June, July, August, that's one thing.
Mhm.
Your food stamps get cut off November, December, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like during what I call the Bible Belts, the family mode, you know what I'm saying, time of the year, that's something different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's different. And the fact that these individuals don't give two shits is is daunting at best.
The cynical side of me is saying the cynical, and so you're gonna have to understand this is the very cynical side of myself that I try not to pay attention to. The cynical side of me is basically saying the way that they're looking at it is if there are less people able that are alive to vote, then it benefits them.
Hmm.
That's the very cynical side of me that's saying that. But I don't know how else to frame it.
Hmm.
Where the less people are alive to vote for me. Because here's what I'm saying. We're looking at a ramp up of law enforcement presence all over the country, right? What's the one thing that drives more crime than anything else?
Them.
The thing that drives more crime than anything else is lack of access to food,
Hmm.
lack of access to basic survival resources. That's what turns people to criminals. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay, now I see what you mean. But yeah, no, if you look at here, matter of fact, because I want to make sure that people understand kind of what we're damn, what?
Like people will talk
I
about
don't
what
understand.
people will talk about legalities and all this other stuff and morals and stuff like that when you don't have any way to feed the people you care about, especially in the winter. Like, well, you could go out and mow grass. Well, you can't mow grass in the winter. Well, you can go out and shovel. Well, I mean, but if everybody else around you is poor, then you're not gonna make any money doing
No,
that.
no, no, not at all.
But people talk about the morals and all this stuff. Morals are really context based, and when people are hungry, um, they're liable to do things that they wouldn't otherwise do. And it always goes back to that. I think people don't quite grasp the severity of that. And what happens is you're having a lot of people that have never experienced this level of poverty. Like they ain't experienced what they're about to experience. And the people I could point to most are the ones that are going to be impacted, um, are going to be like military families and stuff like that. Some of them aren't used to this level of complete restriction and access of not getting any money coming in through paychecks, but then also no assistance available. That's that.
Right. So this is Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and this is the first thing that Brian is talking about is food. These are these are physiological needs. So these are basic needs in order to function. Food, water, warmth, rest, housing, excretion. Like you have to be able to eat. You have to be able to drink. You have to be warm. You have to get rest.
Mhm.
If and when you do not get these things, and here's the other thing, right? It's not just the food and the water, but it's security and it's safety.
Mhm.
If I don't feel secure, if I don't feel safe, you're not gonna be safe. If I'm sitting around here hungry, I'm thirsty, I'm tired, bro, you're gonna become a meal eventually.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you
Well, and it's also a
like what are we
pathway. It's also a way to brainwash somebody because if you can control somebody's access to food, water, and restroom access, you're basically most of the way, 75% of the way to being able to effectively brainwash a person. When I ran my residential shelter, for my staff, it was a fireable offense if you use food as punishment for the kids in the shelter. It was a
correct.
fireable offense. I would fire you. If I found out that you were doing some kind of food restriction, sorry, I'm adjusting my camera. If I found out you were doing a food restriction, a food-based restriction on a kid as a punishment, I would fire you, because that is something where that is a way to brainwash people. You know,
it's a form of torture.
It's a form of torture. Just like when we talk about, like, if you go back to the old Surviving R. Kelly stuff, right? When he had those little girls in that mansion, and people are like, why didn't they just get up and leave? He controlled their access to restroom. He controlled their access to food and water. That's how you break somebody's will, because they will do anything you tell them to do to have access to one of those things. If you control complete access to it, that's how you control a person. And so that's why I was like, it was a fireable offense if you try to use a food-based restriction, saying because you did this, you will not eat, or you will have less food than other people. So when we start playing with that on a national level, what does that mean? We have an entire segment of population that's going to be cut off from food access. What are you trying to do?
Yeah.
And then blame the other side.
And then blame the other side for it. You're
trying to condition a response from them, and your hope is the response that they're going to give is they're going to vote for you because you're going to save them from that. The response that they're going to possibly get is this thing about to turn upside down for a couple of months, and the streets are about to be different. That's the condition, like the conditioned response that you're trying. When you deny an entire population food, you are trying to condition a response from them. And you're not like, this isn't like, okay, so I'm about to say this. This is not like a Palestine situation where it's a denial of food for people that have largely been artificially unarmed by a government where they've been legislated not to have weapons to defend their homes. You're basically denying food to an armed population of people. This does not end well.
Correct. And I was just thinking that as you were saying that, it's like, yeah, that's not going to go with you. I think it's going to go exactly how people think that it's going to go, because you're not going to starve me and my family out. Well, John Doe has an AR-15 and thousands of rounds or whatever. Like, you're not going to starve my family. Like, we're not doing that.
Right.
So if this is it, then this is it. And again, I've been asking all this time, where's these militias at?
They're in ICE.
Like
they got hired by ICE. They got guys, y'all want real, y'all want honesty. We asked where the militias are. A lot of these guys, that's why a lot of them aren't showing their faces. You see some of the tattoos that are similar. They're working. They're getting paid by ICE. Uncomfortable conversation, isn't it? That's uncomfortable thought. That's an uncomfortable thing. That's what's happening, y'all. And y'all can try to phrase it any other way, but a lot of these guys up in Idaho and the Proud Boys and some of these other ones, their activity numbers are at an all-time low because they're out collecting government paychecks as ICE contractors.
So the same enemy that they said that they were going to fight against is the same ones they're working with.
Because it's all about the political middleman. It's all about, some people will absolutely submit to tyranny as long as they get to be the middle manager.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
It's contextual. Like, now we're getting into something a little bit deeper, but this is what the podcast is. Some people will submit to any kind of tyranny as long as they get to be like, they get to manage who gets it. So they will absolutely put themselves in the role of that middle manager as long as they can enforce tyranny on people. They don't care if they live under it or not, because as long as they toe the line, they know that they're going to be okay. The problem is they don't know what kind of transgression can put them in the crosshairs, and they never know until it's too late.
Right.
So, all right.
That's deep.
I turned on my conspiracy brain for a second, Fearless, but I mean, you just look at the numbers. Look at what the activity is, even on social media. These militia groups aren't active anymore. You don't even really see them out there. Where would they go? If they can't guarantee a paycheck on social media, where are they gonna go? Well, who's hiring? Who has what's the government agency that has more money than anybody else?
Yeah. Really? So that's what you said. That's why they hide their faces, huh?
Mm-hmm. Because I've even seen it. They've shown an ICE guy. They showed the tattoos, and he had some militia tattoos on his arm. And he pulled his sleeve down real good, like, "Oh no, you can't see that." You know.
Wow.
So, like I said, I think what's happening is, and this is what it is. And this is my take. Some very uncomfortable things are happening behind the curtain that just got pulled back. And some people are refusing to look at the curtain. So even though the curtain's drawn back completely, they're still refusing to look at what was behind the curtain. They're refusing. Like, why is the government shut down? Well, okay. They're going to bring in another. I think it was either a congressperson or senator that was due to get sworn in. That person would have been the deciding vote on whether to release the Epstein stuff.
Man, people still on that shit.
Listen, that person would have been the deciding vote to actually release it to the public. But she can't get sworn in because the government shut down. Mike Johnson, now he's sworn in people on his side, but he won't swear her in until the government's reopened. But she had already said that's one of the first things she's going to do is cast her. She's going to be the deciding vote for the Epstein release of the Epstein files.
Man, again, I don't know who the lady is, but that, man, please. Yeah, I'll tell you like this. By the time that those things are that what is it, that the Epstein files are declassified or whatever, dude, no one's gonna care.
But that's what they're hoping for.
Say, yeah, we're there.
And
no one cares. We know that homeboy's name is on it, because if it wasn't, that shit would have been out a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, and then here's the other side.
It ain't just him. I'm sure there's a bunch of other people on there too. Don't want their names out there like that.
I'm about to hint at somebody, and then I'm gonna drop their name in the private chat between me and you. Okay, so that I'm not putting us in it. So there's a prominent person who's just kind of taken, who's found some newfound celebrity, in specific media groups and movements, that is absolutely tied to, was absolutely 100% doing child trafficking in a European country, like absolutely a representative. And they have pretty close ties to all the people in power. I'm gonna send you the name.
Yeah, please do.
And people aren't asking because they don't know because she kind of came from that same place.
Really?
Yeah. Look it up. Look up, and I'm about to put the country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So again, what's happening is people are being forced to have some very uncomfortable conversations, very uncomfortable looks. And I think the function of this government, if I got to be 100%, they're trying to prevent that thing from coming out. But because that's the thing that's firing up his base, like against him. That's the one thing that people are turning against him on, is that Epstein thing. I'll be honest with you. But then the other side is it allows him to unilaterally fire as many people as he wants to. This was always going to happen. Like there was no way around this. We were always going to be in a government shutdown. There is not a thing that the Dems could have done to prevent this. Because even if they would have done what they did, they would have found some other way to say, well, we need you to agree with this or we're shutting the government down.
Yeah, they're gonna shut it down regardless.
It was a function. It keeps the jobs reports from coming out on time. It keeps a lot of economic reports in the time when we're in that season, because this is kind of budget season for a lot of people, especially in the nonprofit sector. This is budget season right now. A lot of that numerical data that shows that the economy ain't doing so great doesn't come out when the government shut down. There's a nothing but benefit in shutting the government down for specific people. None. There's nothing but benefit. The problem is there's no humanity to it, because they don't care about who they'll hurt. And even listen to how they talk, bro. This pisses me off. And I'll be honest, it pisses me off watching it, because the way that they talk about the people being hurt, they almost talk about it like it's a hostage situation. We're going to keep hurting those people that you care about until you give us what we want.
Mm-hmm. So again, and this is my question. We as Americans, we celebrate the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
We celebrate the fact that we so-called got away from somebody else's tyranny,
mm-hmm.
to enact the same type of rhetoric to our fellow Americans. Which is so crazy, because people say they tell Black people that you guys shouldn't be celebrating Juneteenth. Just let it go. So I say, okay, cool. Let's not celebrate 4th of July. Just let it go,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the only difference is, to me, is that we can all celebrate Juneteenth, all of us.
Right.
Black, white, everybody, because we look at it as it's American, like all of us, right? I mean, once I got a little bit more than the other, but I mean, dude, y'all still came off on top.
Right.
So who cares? But with the 4th of July, like, Black people weren't free during the 4th of July. So to me, I don't think we should ever spend a fucking dollar on any of those fireworks. You want to celebrate it, then celebrate it.
Yeah.
But to me, I don't think we should. But we do.
Right.
Because we are Americans. And Americans do dumb shit. But my point is because of this Constitution, and it states in the Constitution that if your Constitution no longer works for you, it is your obligation, and it is your duty to stand up and replace it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what the 4th of July is for. That's what the Declaration of Independence talks about. Why are we not doing this? The government doesn't run shit. We do.
Right.
You don't shut off anything until we tell you to shut it off.
Exactly.
So the fact of the matter, this is what's funny to me, is that they got us scared of them. No. They should be scared of us. It shouldn't be the other way around.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because in any other country, we have more guns than anybody. When I say anybody, I mean anybody. Like, so you not rolling through our streets doing nothing unless we say that you can do that shit. And that's the fucking point, bro. Is that they got us so twisted and scared and fighting amongst each other. Listen, I want to tell y'all this. White people and everybody else, I fuck with y'all. Whether you fuck with me or not, that's on you. But you haven't actually done anything directly to me or mine. What's happened before. Let the shit go. I can let it go. But y'all don't want to let that shit go. That's on y'all. I mean, you can tell that by the rhetoric of the shit that you keep talking about. Y'all let this straw man get in there and he gonna fuck up the whole country because y'all thinking that it's somebody else because nobody wants to take any accountability for anything. You know what I'm saying? And you keep thinking that we're better than everybody else. No, motherfucker, you're not.
It comes down to sharing power. Talk to these people. When you talk to them in scratches, like a lot of people like, well, we're going to be minorities in, white people are going to be minorities in this country in whatever date. Okay.
Globally, you already are.
Yeah.
Globally, you already are. And then I just learned this morning, not to cut you off, my guy. I just learned this morning that what are those individuals who are now paying China and like some Latin money?
Oh, BRICS?
No, it's not BRICS. It's something else.
Oh,
they're actually bypassing the American dollar.
Yeah, that's
because they're bypassing that shit because they're getting. Here's the thing. Eventually, America's not going to be number one anymore.
That's BRICS. That's Brazil. These different countries: Brazil, Russia. I think it's India,
Europe,
and China.
Yeah,
where they formed a coalition to try to replace the dollar as the reserve currency of the world, and they're trying to make those inroads. And I saw
they just did though.
Clear Value Tax. Matter of fact, this is why YouTube is important. Clear Value Tax. He said this 2.5 years ago that's what was happening. That's why I know about it, because I follow him on YouTube. He's talking about the BRICS thing 2.5 years ago. And he's like, this is something you guys need to keep an eye on. And it's like, all it's going to take is some instability within the U.S. government that jeopardizes our markets. And this is what's going to happen. And so we're seeing things play out. I think what we're talking about is, and you talk about it, and okay, we're getting personal. We're going to talk about the president here. One of the things about him is, this is just my take. You're electing a guy that's, but basically he's been the chairman of the board of his own company ever since he inherited dad's money, right? And he's used to being able to tell people what to do and they do it. Okay. He views every American citizen as his employee or his subject. He thinks that you have to do what he tells you to do. I guarantee you, if you interact with him in a personal level, he will try to tell you exactly what he wants you to do and expect you to do it. Because that's just how he moves. That's what he's used to. And I don't know if he has the cognitive ability to understand that fundamentally being president is supposed to change that line of thinking. Or the desire. I don't think he even has the desire to do it. I think he thinks that he got elected boss of America, and that's what that means. And when I'm boss of America, I can do whatever I want to, and people just got to deal with it.
I mean, show me where he's wrong.
Right, and his party,
show me where he's wrong.
And his party is, they can't grab their ankles fast enough for him. Whenever he challenges, whenever he insults one of them, whenever he belittles one of them. Like, I'm sitting there watching, he's insulting, I'm watching some of our local politicians. He's insulting you to your face. Are you going to say anything?
That's funny.
Like I said, I'm glad I'm not.
You going to say anything?
I'm actually glad, like right now, I have my entire journalism background behind me. I could not be a report in the press corps. I could not be a reporter entrenched in that press corps covering the White House. Because that man ain't going to sit up there and talk crazy to me.
Right.
He ain't going to talk crazy to me without me saying something back. You're not my boss, bro. You're an elected official. I don't answer to you.
Mm-hmm.
Just like this entire thing, people are like, what's the big deal about what he's doing in the White House? It's emblematic of other things, right? It's the people's house.
Right. It's not his.
You can't just do whatever you want to the people's house, supposedly, but he's doing it. And he came out and said, well, first, we're not going to touch the East Wing. That's the first thing he said. We'll do it without touching the East Wing. And then next thing you know, next day, the East Wing's getting demolished. And people are asking, well, you said you weren't going to do it. Well, he decided that he was going to do it anyway. That's not his accountability. When Obama put in a basketball court, when he turned one of the tennis courts to a basketball court, he paid his own money. There's even records of it where he wrote his own check to put lines down, stripes down, and install a hoop.
I mean, right, but that's not destroying the structure
Yeah.
of anything. It's a hoop and some paint.
And when they have the renovations, like, because people will point out, Obama had all these renovations at the White House. That money was approved during George W. Bush. That money is allocated by Congress and signed by George W. Bush to renovate all the HVAC systems and modernize all that stuff. And that's different. Like, this is my bigger point, Fearless. I think what we've lost is, and I'm getting to this, I've been working up to it. I think that we have lost the concept of bad versus objectively worse. Where we're down this moral relativism kind of rabbit hole, where all actions are equal and everybody that does something is doing something and it's all equal. There is bad and then there's objectively worse. We're in objectively worse right now. Just because I do a thing, if you do something worse, you did something worse.
Yeah.
I still did the thing and I have accountability for the thing I did, but you shouldn't be able to point at me like, well, you did something too. We both did something.
Right.
But I did something that was on a smaller scale that harmed lesser people. It should be looked at differently than you doing maximum harm with every chance you get. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've lost that nuance in our conversation. And it's a direct result of that whataboutism thing. What about you over here doing this? You know, this guy burned down this guy arsonist, he burned down the entire neighborhood. Well, remember that time that you set your mom's carpet on fire and put it out? Well, yeah. Well, you set the house on fire technically too, but there's a burn mark in the carpet and we put it out. You burned down a whole block.
Right. Right. Well,
Aren't these the same thing? No, they're not.
Yeah.
Bad versus objectively worse is a thing.
Bad versus objectively worse. Okay, I need to write that down. That's good. That's some good stuff.
Guys, look in the comments. I want y'all to look in the comments. Locally, Fearless has posted all the different food pantries and whatnot and where they're located. There's lots more on here. There's lots more that we didn't get a chance to list. Google it. Find a chance to volunteer. Find a chance to donate. Or if you need the resources, go take the help. Because that's what it's there for.
Yeah, that's what it's there for, man. This, again, you may not be getting your food stamp card re-upped within the next couple of days, but we do have there is still food. There's still food at these shelters. Another thing too, who is it? Open Door Mission.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all can go down there and eat. Francis House, are they still around? They still do their Francis House. You can go down there and eat. Again, these people they give free meals to anybody down there. So go down if you're hungry, get something to eat. Do not let your fucking pride take over.
I think the Lighthouse Cafe is another one where for in Bellevue, where it's not like there's pantry stuff there, but then also if you're looking
at bread,
if you're looking for inexpensive food, they have meals where you could pay $6 and get a full meal. If you're ever looking for something where you don't have a lot of money but you need to feed, feed a family for $6 a piece. That's less than $30. That's a pretty good deal. And they're set up as a nonprofit, so everything you do helps. But there's plenty of resources out there for you to take advantage of. Don't feel like your ego has to jump in the way of that. You got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. So please don't let your please don't let your ego get in the way of your tummy, man. Get something to eat, man. Don't play around.
And the thing we'll ask you, Fearless, and I'll ask you is don't let your lack be somebody else's. Like it's this other group of people over here that are struggling, that are the reason why I don't have what I need to feed my family. That
Yeah.
is not, they've conditioned y'all to believe that this is one big zero-sum game where
And it
this
is not. It's
no,
not.
there's plenty of resources to go around. It's just y'all keep voting for people that restrict access to them.
Mhm. And here's the thing. The great thing about this is, guys, is that, and this isn't just on a federal type level. This is the reason why it is so important for us to understand, even at a local level, the people that y'all voting in.
Mhm.
You got to be very careful. Who's your comp controller? What is it that they do? What does the mayor do? What is the council? What do the council members do? Again, understand what these things are, because it's not the presidency. It's the people down here that make those checks and balances.
Right.
For those of you who don't like Senator, what's the homeboy's name? Pete Ricketts,
Mhm.
you don't have to vote for him. Vote for somebody else.
I never do.
You know
And
what I'm saying? Like, seriously, y'all know it. Again, from what I hear, I didn't vote for the guy. So, but if you know that this man's a piece of shit and he don't give two fucks about you or anybody around you, why y'all keep voting for him?
I mean, it's personal. He's an ass. I've met him, and
Like, get
Here-
his ass out of office.
it's a crazy thing. I haven't met anybody. People who even vote for him don't like him, but it's just the Nebraska way. I don't understand it.
Then the Nebraska way needs to change.
It's a weird thing where people will vote for people they absolutely do not like and despise, but because they think that they're getting some kind of benefit out of it. It's the craziest thing, craziest work imaginable. The craziest thing, watching people who, I'm in the nonprofit space. Like I've lived in the nonprofit space. I've worked in the nonprofit space and off and on. I have my own nonprofit. I help out other nonprofits and stuff like that. It was insanity to see people who are in unions and in the nonprofit sector vote for bro in office. It didn't make a lick of sense because he told you all that stuff was going away. Told you all that money is going away. All of it. It's gone now. He talked about outlawing unions. Unions are all in his crosshairs. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how you live off of something that you require, but then you'll vote against it. You'll vote against you'll vote for the person, even if politically. And I think a lot of it does have to do with this. And Fearless, you can back me up on this. I think a lot of it does have to do. We talked about distraction, everything. Culture war stuff is distraction. Culture war stuff is distraction. I'll say it. It's distraction. Legislating.
What do you mean by culture wars?
I don't like this specific, like, I don't like the fact that, somebody comes on, I don't like the fact that trans people exist, and that becomes their entire voting personality.
Gotcha.
To the detriment of everything else. I don't like that this group is getting this thing that I think that they're getting. I've been told, I had a person tell me that black people go to college for free.
Oh, yeah.
Earnestly believe that informed their parents' voting habits. They thought that the Democrats were giving black people free college. I said, where'd you get that from? Well, what about the United Negro College Fund? That is a grant. That is a grant that gets awarded to a couple of people in this whole country. Like, that's not, they thought that was all of it, that went to all black people. And so they thought that I was lying when I said.
So I do have a question. If they honestly believe that, what was the person who was talking to you about this? What was their highest level of education?
They were in college with me. Like, they came from this small town.
Got it. Okay.
And they're in college with me asking, you go to school for free. I'm like, well, yeah, kind of. And they're like, see, black people go for school free. Like, listen, from the time I was a sophomore to the time I was a senior, I took a part-time job filling out scholarship applications
Hmm.
and grants because my mom told me straight up, I can't afford to send you to college unless you get help. And so I had to make the grade and spent nights, weekends, evenings filling out scholarship applications like it was my job.
Hmm.
And I landed one. And I didn't even get a chance to go to the school I wanted to go to because I didn't have enough money to go to the school I wanted to go to.
Hmm.
I wanted to go to Grambling, but I ended up at UNO the first time around because that's where I could afford to go.
Hmm.
But they thought that I was like that there was some law out there where black people just go to school for free. It's like, no. If that was the case, explain these student loans, because I still had to take student loans to cover stuff. I
Right.
still had to take a job to pay for stuff. Where's the free here?
Hmm.
Like, you're going to school for free because your parents are paying for you to go to school.
Hmm.
I had to drop out to go to work.
Right.
But what I'm saying is this: the larger point is that inaccurate perception of black people get stuff for free drove her parents' voting habits.
Hmm. And then somebody else told them that, oh yeah, they go to school for free.
Yeah.
They blah blah blah, or they just assumed that that's what that was based on all the other misinformation that they had.
Yeah.
But again, though, at what point does a person actually sit down and go look the information up themselves? Do you know how many times I will actually go look something up based on what I've heard?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, well, this isn't the full, what that person said isn't the full story. So, and then I'm reading the red stuff and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that's, I guess, really not that bad. But the way that the left and the right, both of them, have positioned certain things, you would think that the world's coming to an end.
Yeah.
No, they're just stopping this particular thing over here for this reason over there. So now that makes total sense. I totally get that.
There's a thing I'm trying to find so I'm gonna be looking it up. So I'm gonna let you carry it for a second. But there's a thing where a lot of times when people have a lack of information, they fill it in with what they imagine it to be, right? And
Gotcha.
so there was a study that went down, and I got to find where the study was, and I may or may not be able to find it. But they took a percentage. It was like some insane percentage of adults in America didn't know how vision worked, and they thought that we were sending kind of laser beams out of our eyes because they didn't quite understand how vision worked.
You talking about because of the reflection of the light and
Yeah.
all that stuff?
They thought we were emitting some kind of beams out of our eyes, and that's how our vision worked.
Man, you lying.
I'm not lying. I got to find the study. It was a depressing statistic, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that people's lack of intellectual curiosity about stuff to actually find out how things work.
There's a book. Oh my gosh, let me get. And I'm telling y'all gonna get tired of me saying that all the time. Hey, y'all gonna get tired of me saying this all the time. But there's a book. Hold on, let me you hear Netflix going. Hold on, let me find it. There's a book. Hold on, let me find it right quick. Okay, the book. Oh, there it is. There it is. This is literally one of my favorite books. Hold on, let me make sure to where you guys at. Okay. This is one of my favorite books. And I hope you guys get this. Can you see this?
Let me look. Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so this book is called Curious. The desire to know, and again, they have it. So the desire, number one, to know and why your future depends on it. And they talk about all of these different these stages of curiosity, and it was basically two of them. There was and I got it right. There's a epistemic. Hold on. Epistemic and divergent. So I have to write the stuff down. So epistemic. So here I'll start with divergent. Divergent
Mhm.
is when you are today when we do the strolling and we're just going up and we watch something for like 30 seconds and then keep going.
Mhm.
30 seconds, keep going. That's diversion. Epistemic is when you watch the whole entire 2-3 hour interview and then you go above and beyond that because you want to know more. That's epistemic. So we have these types of curiosity and based on where you are and where your desire to know is and why you want to know is going to see is going to determine how far you go in your knowledge.
Okay.
As you can see in my house, bro, you've been here, you already know. But
Mhm.
for the viewers, man, I have a whole library, like my own personal library in my house. I have, I'm gonna have to, you know what, man? I'm gonna have to actually just go through and count my books, like seriously. But I have over on this. Let me stop. This wall behind me with the changing lights. That's all my what is those? Those are fictional books. Everything over there is what are those? I think like general type stuff like words and science type books. Behind me is business. Up above my head is philosophy and religion. Downstairs is kind of like a miscellaneous thing of just books, just kind of in general or whatever. So I'm an avid, like I am the definition of a bibliophile. Like and Alexa lexiphile as well because I love words. So
Mhm.
I kind of I love it all pertaining to literacy and this that and the other whatever. So if I hear something, I need you to tell me where you got that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like and that's the
Right.
one thing that I kind of stopped doing was like I was talking to a young lady last night and she was telling me that she said that there was a state that was going to start um, rescinding um, their federal dollars and start keeping it and and start giving it back to the people because they're like, you know, if
Maine.
you guys aren't going to take your, if you guys are not going to follow the Constitution and help our people, then we'll do it for you, type stuff. So she's telling me this, and I'm like, huh, I've never heard of that. Let me look that up. So I looked it up and I said, you know, is it possible that a country, not country, but a state could do this, whatever? And that it said no because and here's the thing: the reason why I said no is because the Constitution does the Constitution is a federal law, which there's no other law that's above federal. That's the
Right.
reason why if your state says that you guys can sell marijuana, sweet, cool. But federally, if feds come in, there ain't shit you can do about that. And the state will tell you if the feds come in, there's nothing we can do. Like you guys, unless they're violating your rights, which again, they don't give a fuck about that either. There's not much they can do about it.
Yeah.
So I looked that up and no, sure as shit, no, there is nothing they really can do about it. And if they did decide that, well, we're not going to send that money to them, basically, unless I think it's like 18 other states. I think it's 18 other states or somewhere up around there
Mhm.
have to sign off a petition for people to just stop sending money to the government. At that point, I what's gonna happen is you're gonna have like a whole martial law type thing going on. Like you're gonna have a whole problem because the one thing you're not gonna do is fuck with the government's money. Like
Yeah.
they'll put you in debt. You're not gonna put them in debt.
So, and what you're talking about is the supremacy clause, the constitutional provision that makes it clear that federal law is the highest law in the land.
It's the highest law in the land.
And federal preemption, the doctrine that applies to the supremacy clause in practice, resulting in federal law displacing conflicting state law.
There you go. So the likelihood of that happening, I mean, hey, I don't know. I'm a spectator at this point. I would love to see it, but that's my point. That's my point, though. When she said this, she was stating it like it's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Let me go look that up. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, I'm not saying that they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying law-wise, because I'm like, man, that doesn't sound right. Whatever. I looked it up and go ahead.
I think it sounds like, because here's what I'm thinking. It sounds like this is something that she probably knows won't work out like that, but she's hoping it goes to court. Because
no, bro, no. She didn't know.
The governor?
Shit. No, I'm talking about the chick I was talking to.
Okay, because I'm talking about the governor of Maine. Because that's who that's one of the ones talking about the withhold federal dollars. They cut off federal.
Yes, I 100% understand.
Mm-hmm.
I 100% understand. Because technically, that money is supposed to go to us.
Right.
So the fact of the matter is that every time we're sending all this money to any other country outside of America, bro, no. We don't go to war with you, and then we're going to send you money to rebuild your country. If I go to war with you, regardless of what reason I had to go to war with you for, fuck you. Pick it up yourself.
Well, what the insane piece is, we are living in times, because ideally, when you're talking about separation of governments or separation of powers, right? Congress holds the power of the purse. They're supposed to determine what gets funded, what gets not funded. And that only works when you have a Congress that will stand up to the executive branch. What we have essentially is we have an executive branch that is essentially disbanded Congress, depowered Congress, because Congress' wills is being painted as subservient to the executive, and that's not how it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so Congress determines what gets allocated and what gets funded and not. But for whatever reason, the executive branch has decided that even though that they've allocated money for this program or they allocated money for that program, they should have the final say in who gets funded and whatnot, and then they just withhold the money. And that's not how it's supposed to work. And it's crazy. That's not supposed to happen. The executive branch is not supposed to be able to dictate, okay, well, I don't like this specific program, and so because I don't like this specific program, we're not going to fund it after Congress already done voted for it.
Mm-hmm.
And allocated money for it. But nonprofits across the board are feeling it right now. Money that they should have gotten, they're not getting. That they've already been awarded, they ain't getting.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it has to do with the fact, and so people thought I was like fear-mongering when I'm like, hey, putting Elon in government and giving him an unofficial government role is going to be disastrous. Because there's such thing as people who are smart, who still have no desire to learn how things actually work.
Mm-hmm.
And he fall in that category. He thinks he's boy king, and he thought that he should be able to, because I say it should happen. And that's exactly what happened. They went in there and gutted all them programs and destroyed, not only ended the programs, but destroyed the program's ability to fund initiatives that they have been funding for decades. And now we're all fucked. Like everybody's fucked. Like those systems that normally paid people and normally made sure specific funding was allocated is broken. And they used it because they understood that for a country of people that have supercomputers in their hands, scientifically Americans are illiterate. Medically, we're kind of illiterate. So all they have to say is, okay, so here's the example. Fearless, you probably heard this one. I think I've said it on here. Remember when they came out and said, well, we're paying X amount for a shrimp to run on a treadmill. You remember that?
No.
Okay, so they used that as an impetus to shut down funding for this specific shrimp on treadmill thing. We're paying $1 million for the shrimp on the treadmill. One, nobody had paid $1 million for the treadmill. Like the researchers designed the treadmill in and of itself. That's not the point. The reason why the shrimp was on the treadmill was they're trying to figure out how migration patterns of our seafood worked.
Okay.
Especially when they talked about water getting polluted. They wanted to see how they migrated around when water was polluted. And so that's why the shrimp was on the treadmill.
Okay.
They were trying to figure out migration patterns so that they can preserve our food stores, which is seafood, is a large chunk of what we eat. But since stupid people were like, "Oh, shrimp on treadmill sounds dumb," we'll cut it off. And they started arbitrarily cutting off things that they didn't understand. So a lot of pediatric cancer research got cut off. A lot of breast cancer research for Black people got cut off because they were too stupid to understand what they were looking at.
Right, because one thing is connected to 4 or 5 other things, but they're just looking at that one thing. Saying, well, what do I need this for? Yeah, cut that off. But cutting that off cuts off all these other programs as well.
And people don't understand the federal government pays college universities to do research, and a lot of our technological advancements come from the fact that they pay college universities. They pay universities to do research that they don't have the bandwidth to do. So a lot of our satellite technology and stuff came from that level of research. It came from government funded money that they gave to the university, and then the university paid and they staffed and they bought all the equipment to do the research.
Okay.
And so we lost about 40 years of scientific research in less than 6 months. Crazy work, man.
40 years of research in 6 months.
It set us behind so far because you let in people who didn't know what they were doing, and you let the monkey under your hood with the chainsaw. Because that monkey was doing something. The monkey was doing something. And because they're doing something, if they're doing something, that's better than doing nothing, right? Doing something's better than doing nothing, always, right? That's how we're conditioned to believe. So I digress. But I did find the research. There's an entire research paper about humans not understanding. And I'll read it to you.
Please do.
It's called.
Can we see it too?
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of text, so I'm gonna pull it up on the screen. But it's called the Extra Mission Theory of Vision, and this was 2007 when this dropped. And I think it's called
Extra Vision of what?
Extra mission of vision is a misconception about vision. So let me pull it up here.
Jesus.
And basically, it was, when you boil it down, there was a substantial chunk of people that think that we see through emitting something from our eyes. Psychologists were shocked by the results when they discovered that many adults think something leaves our eyes when we look at an object. The extra mission of vision theory was described by Jeff Grabmeister in an easy-to-read overview of research done by Gerald Weiner and his colleagues, explain why people hold on to this understanding. Okay, so most people think that seeing a video call. Most people think that seeing involves emissions from the eyes, but that's a false belief. When you do not sense when you see, you do not send something out of your eyes. Instead, You see an object, light photons move away from the object and into your eyes. Your mind is actively involved in processing and interpreting what you see, but the physical flow of matter or energy associated with information in one direction from an external event is in your I skipped a line there. This is small. All right. Your mind is actively involved with processing and interpreting what you see, but the physical flow of matter / energy associated with energy is one direction from an external event into your eyes. So an event is not affected when you observe it. So basically, they're saying a lot of people think that the way you see is you shoot something out of your eyes, and that's how vision works.
Yeah, it's based on reflection, sunlight. It's based on all those things, and then as you're looking at something, your mind is creating what you're actually observing. Because again, that's the reason why bats can see things that people can't see. That's the reason why cats and dogs can see things people can't see. It's because they see things differently in general. So they still have that same reflectionist type of stuff too, but they also have other things that come in that they can see as well that we cannot.
Well, and also it extends to the idea that I can look at my watch and not know what time it is immediately. Or I can be driving and look and see the car coming, but I didn't see the car because my mind didn't process what I was looking at.
Matter of fact, and there was this book called "What the Bleep Do They Know?" You ever watch that show?
Yep, I've seen it.
Okay, so there was a book on that too, and early in the book, it talked about there was this large stretch of concrete on this road, and there was this guy who ran into an airplane that was on that road.
Mm-hmm.
And this did just happen once. It happened multiple times when they ran into this plane, and people kept asking, "How did you not see the plane?" And they kept saying, "Because I never saw it."
Mm-hmm.
The reason why they didn't see it is because they're on a road for cars.
Exactly.
So they're not even thinking that an airplane would even be on this road. So again, it's like, how did you not see it? I didn't see it because my mind, and you know what that's called? That's called scotoma. Scotoma is when you're looking for the salt and the salt's right in front of your face. You're looking for your watch and it's sitting right there. Your mind cuts off any other possibility that whatever you're looking at is what you're looking at. So that's one of the questions that they were asking. Who or what sees what? Is it your eyes that see, or is it your brain that actually sees what the eyes are looking at? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't, so that's kind of like what they were just talking about there. That your mind is creating a lot of these things. Like you just use the example that you can look at your watch and still not know what time it is.
Well, and
you know what I mean?
And that's what, so that book I talked about, The Invisible Gorilla, they have a whole chapter on that, where that's why people on motorcycles get hit a lot, because people they're expecting to see a car, not a motorcycle.
Not a motorcycle. And that's the reason why, because I have a motorcycle's license. That's the reason why when we're taught to ride our bikes, we're never taught to ride, because there's three parts. There's three sides of the road. There's one road, but there's three different parts in that road that you drive in. They always tell us to either be right in the middle or off to the side a little bit. And the reason why is because you want to be in the position of a person's rear view mirror. You want to be in the position of their rear view. So if you're off to the side over there, as you can see, you can't even see what my hand is doing. Right. My right hand, you don't see what it's doing. But this is what it's doing. Right? But if I'm over here, you can see this. You know what I'm saying? Because the way that my camera is positioned, you can see that. So if I'm doing it back here, I can see everything right behind me. And sometimes what happens is that, like, because this almost happened to me, I'm trying to turn or I'm going into another lane. Some lady's cutting me off because of where I'm positioned on my motorcycle. She has no idea that I'm even there because of what side I took up on my bike. So it's not like she can hear it because at that point my bike was pretty quiet actually. Was it? I don't know, man. No, it wasn't. Yes, actually, yeah, it was. It was pretty quiet. Now my motorcycle's loud as shit. But that's why they always tell you that loud pipes save lives.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people ain't gonna hear you. They got their music on. And listen, four wheels is always gonna be two.
Right.
Always. So like, yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
And so, it's weird how, and like I said, when you start learning how the human brain works, it's scary. Like you sit around and look at people like, damn, you don't know, like the fact that you don't know how vision works is a scary thing because it seems like the common interest or common knowledge to us is not common knowledge to everybody. And it's crazy that people don't have an intellectual curiosity. Like, let me see how this thing works.
Mm-hmm.
I got a supercomputer. Let me type in the supercomputer I hold that to find out how this thing works. It's a weird thing.
Right. I mean, so then we'll assume that we know certain stuff and we'll fill in our own blanks.
Yeah.
And even the blanks that we're filling in is misrepresented.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Again, that's why when that lady was talking to me yesterday, the first thing I do is I go look that up. And then I go look up the law to see if that's even legal.
Mm-hmm.
And based on the Constitution, no, it is not. Or whatever. Now, I'm very interested to see how this whole thing goes. And I think that if you started there, and it's great to start it there. It's great to start that in Maine, because Maine's full of white people.
Mm-hmm.
So I love to see how people look towards that. Because if that were to start in like Detroit, if that had started in like California, bro, that man had a motherfucking National Guard there in tomorrow.
They had to repossess the whole damn city.
Like the tomorrow. Bro, fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that. But the fact that they're doing it in Maine first, I think that's great.
Yeah, start there.
Start there. Start there. I would love to see how that works.
Because you're always going to see the extent of what they're going to do. Like, how far are they willing to go if they're willing to tolerate it from this group? That makes sense.
There you go.
You don't want to beta test it here.
No.
You want to beta test it in New Orleans.
Chicago. That ain't what you want to do. That ain't what you want to do. No, sir. No.
And it does crack me up because, we live in this weird dog whistle time where we both know that when specific political people talk about Chicago or Detroit or Memphis, they basically mean cities where there are black people in them. Even though that none of those cities has a majority black population.
Yeah.
I don't even think Detroit has a majority black population. I think it's close, but I don't think it's majority.
Not because shit, everybody's either dead or moved.
Right. Well, and in Nebraska, it's funny because Omaha is basically the Detroit of Nebraska, which is hilarious to me.
I can see that.
When you talk to people,
I can see that.
Even in college, like, you're from Omaha? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What? Where do you think we come from, bro? Like, I lived in a house just like you did.
Yeah.
Except there are other people next door to me and not just like a field full of cows and stuff. But
when you talk to people outside of Nebraska,
outside of Omaha,
or outside of,
have you ever talked? Now this is college. This is when I was in college, but back in the days, it used to blow my mind when people were saying, "Yeah, man, we come to Omaha." Like Omaha was the big city, and I'm like, I am trying to get out of this small town. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Oh, for them, Omaha was the big city.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm like, ain't nothing here. So anyway, we've been in and out and around it. I think what we're talking about a lot, guys, is we are kind of seeing what we're seeing in real time. And this is just my little take on it. I think we're seeing what happens when what we've considered law for all this time ends up just becoming another social contract that's optional for specific people to opt in or opt out of. We're seeing that federal laws are basically social contracts. Not for me or you. Like, it's not optional for me or you. We'll still go to federal prison. But if you are rich enough or you know enough people, it's just kind of a social contract. Like, I don't have to listen to what the Supreme Court says. I'll just do whatever I want to.
I mean, you know, but here's the thing, though. At the end of the day, you don't have to listen to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the Constitution is just a broad set of rules and regulations that certain people decided that we're all going to live by, but those same motherfuckers never live by them. So what are you talking about? I mean, matter of fact, even if you look at our national anthem or whatever, and you listen to, what was it, the second or third stanza? I think it's the second stanza.
Oh, the slavery
that, or whatever. When homeboy is going in on the backs of the bloods of slaves and all kinds of stuff. It's like, you know, how about we sing "All You Need Is Love"?
Yeah,
I think everybody would sing that song. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. And instead of you standing for, I mean, again, you want to stand for the flag, sweet. But I think that you also have to understand, what are you stand when you stand for that flag? What are you standing for? Because I'd rather stand for the person next to me. You know what I mean? That's who I'd rather pledge my allegiance to. I don't want to pledge my allegiance to a fucking flag that even our president don't give a fuck about. Or at least he say he do.
Yeah.
But does he? I mean, like, seriously.
I mean, he says a lot of things. He says that we're blowing up boats that are drug runners, but then one of the boats that they blew up or captured, they immediately repatriated the passengers. So if they had been breaking international law, that we would have arrested them, but they weren't. That means that they just got sent back to their country of origin, which means that they weren't doing anything illegal that they could be arrested for. But we're just taking it like, yeah, that boat had drug dealers on it.
Right. And again, and the fact that you listen to him tell you that shit and you believe it, it's like, dude, that man he has a far imagination with the truth.
Well, and then all the people are saying, no, man, that was, you know, forgot what Bahamian country it was, but his family is like, no, that they were out fishing. You know, they're like that. They were out fishing. Like that was a fisherman. But here's the other side. And I know this is a weird take. I think people don't grasp this. You can't blow up somebody. You can't execute somebody in this country. The way the laws are, you can't execute somebody unless they have a trial. If you've said they're broken the law,
or it's war,
or it's act of war,
or it's war,
or it's war. But even then, you have to have a declaration of war.
I mean, or hold on, one more. Or you feel like your life is in danger.
Yeah, but you can't. Well, I'm talking about from a legal standpoint. I'm talking about like law enforcement or an enforcement act, like an enforcement body. So if you're a law enforcement agency, you can't unilaterally just execute. You can't summarily just execute people.
Didn't he just say a couple days ago that they're going to start taking this from the sea to the land?
Yeah.
And if they catch you, they're just going to, boy, okay, you can play with these motherfuckers if you want to.
And wait till
because here's the thing, I believe him.
Yeah. And then, so what happens when they accidentally get the tip that his son has a big pile of cocaine? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you good.
I'm sorry.
Right. It'll be okay. But I did want to ask you though. And I know that we may have to be a little careful on this, but I'm just asking. Mm-hmm. What do you think about? And again, I don't even know if it's accurate or not. I'm gonna say that. what do you think about the cartels having bounties on ICE agents?
I think it's bullshit. I think it's a lie.
You think it's a lie?
I don't. I think that there's a level of subterfuge that's happening. I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think that because there's no way to prove it. There's no evidence. That's just something else that's just being said.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
It's an assertion made without any real evidence. They haven't really demonstrated any proof that that's the thing that's happening. And I think a lot of times they use words like cartel, street gangs, and stuff because it scares people who've never been around. Like I grew up around gangs. Like it wasn't like I was in gangs and stuff, but gangs were in my neighborhood and stuff. A lot of people don't quite understand how street gangs work. And I think they play that up. Like and it's not just news, but you see you'll see even when they interview like one of the sheriffs, a specific sheriff in this city, he throws out those buzzwords because he knows that's red meat for people that are scared of that kind of stuff, who've never experienced it in any way, shape, or form. I think that when they say why would the cartels put a hit on ICE agents? Why would they? I think it might be getting played up a little bit. I'm not saying it's completely untrue. I think it may be getting played up a little bit to give them more unilateral powers to do things that are do things that are against the law. The idea that we have an entire government agency that has literally been legally authorized to racially profile people is crazy, and people aren't mad about it because the people that should be mad about it aren't affected by it.
Okay.
When's the last time, like when you look at these ICE raids, when's the last time you seen them snatching up some white guy and saying, are you from here? Because the assumption is he's from here. He may not be from here. That dude may be Irish, maybe Russian, but you wouldn't know. The only people that could even apply to is people that are brown, are darker than a brown paper bag. So I think that we're playing it up a little bit of the victimhood side of it, because there's a lot of footage of these guys doing things that are really unsavory. And so now we're going to say, that's another distraction. Oh, well, we need even more. It's kind of like the qualified immunity thing that we talk about, right? People want to have qualified immunity because they don't want they want to remove qualified immunity because the idea of holding people accountable for their actions seems to be scary to them, because if this cop gets held accountable for their actions, then they won't do their job, because why should they be held accountable for their actions? I feel like it's kind of in that vein. I don't trust it.
But here's the thing though. The thing with qualified immunity is that qualified immunity added the police officers later.
Yeah.
They didn't. When qualified immunity came out, what was it? The late 60s.
Mm-hmm.
The late 60s, when qualified immunity came out, cops were added to that later on.
Right.
Or whatever. But they were added on later on because they were doing fuck shit.
Well, NYPD doesn't even have, I think they banned qualified immunity in New York. They're trying to bring it back, but those cops in the NYPD doesn't have qualified immunity anymore, and they're getting lawsuits left and right.
It is a federal thing. Yeah. That's not state. That's fed.
But they're saying they've done something where in New York you can directly sue a police officer for things that they've done to you.
Okay.
And they're actually trying to remove that. They're trying to remove that because that was a recent thing in 2020, I think, where they said we're going to end this practice and citizens can directly sue police officers for harm they inflict on them while they're interacting with them. And you can look, I think we can look it up, but there's one of the candidates is actually campaigning on bringing that back.
I'm sure he is.
I think it's that dude. Remember that dude who used to wear the red beret, be running around New York? He had a little group of dudes who wore red berets, and they're like Crime Stoppers dudes. He's running for governor. He's running for mayor.
You talking about
the red beret guy?
Yeah, you talking about
Curtis Sewell.
Guardian Angels, or
the Guardian Angels guy.
Yeah.
He's running for governor. He's running for mayor in New York, and
man, please.
He's trying to. He wants to get rid of the fact that he doesn't want people to be able. He wants to roll that back so citizens cannot sue police officers for violating their rights. Like he thinks that that's limiting. Yeah, but I don't believe you asked me about it. I don't necessarily believe that it's that cut and dry. I think if that is true, that there are nuances that are being left out. I don't think that, will the cartels, because they can say anything about the cartels. Remember a couple years ago where that group of Mormons is in a war with the cartels down in Mexico.
So their asses up.
Yeah. But they act like that Mormon, the Mormon enclave down there, they're acting like it was just like this harmless, neutral thing. And they've been actually actively at war with the cartels for that land for a long time.
Oh, what are they?
And so there's some other stuff that goes along with it that didn't necessarily come out. And I know that they're related to Mitt Romney somehow, but there's always the other side to it. And I believe that there's probably some nuances that they're intentionally leaving out when they say, oh, well, because if you look at see how some of these ICE agents are acting in some of these other places. We just had ICE right up the street from me. Them jokers are out of pocket, bro. Like you would never see, and I've dealt with cops that were wild and out of control. You would never see local police, some of these local police act the way that some of these ICE agents do in these streets, bro. They talking crazy to folks.
Are they?
And jamming people up. And so I think part of that it's part of a narrative that they're trying to get us to feel sorry or,
yeah, please.
Well, we can't. And I think it's part of the thing where people are saying, listen, man, if you want to be law enforcement, you have to identify yourself as law enforcement when asked. You can't just walk around with a mask on and jam people up, because I think even in Omaha we had a guy who was faking like a cop trying to pull people over.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, nowadays you kind of can. Yeah. You don't know who's who.
And you can order ICE uniforms off of it. You can order an ICE uniform and badge off of Amazon. And so it's not crazy to say, hey, this person needs to identify themselves, bro. Like they need to have a badge and a name and a number so that I can verify who they are. But I feel like the cartels are after them. I almost feel like that's kind of a thing to say.
Okay, I got you.
Well, they shouldn't be forced to identify themselves. No, man, they should.
I got you.
And it's like, go ahead. Well, it's like, okay, I'll throw this out here and then I'll kick it over to you. It's like, so you just randomly, if some random masked man just pulls up and says, and flashes a badge and says, hey, I need you to come with me, you're just gonna go with him and not ask for anything? You a fool.
Yeah.
You a fool. You better be telling you better be telling yourself, your wife, your kids, hey, you need to identify yourself.
Right. All right. So I looked up what we were talking about. So so what they did, I guess what they tried to do was qualified immunity, like I said before, is a federal thing. So on a federal level, that thing ain't going nowhere, like period. Mm-hmm. So it says current status of qualified immunity in New York. City level. The New York City Council passed a law in 2021, 2021, that makes it easier to sue NYPD officers for misconduct by ending the use of qualified immunity for city officials. Now, here's the thing: state level. State level is state level legislation to eliminate qualified immunity is a defense
Mhm.
And in a state court in a state court case has been introduced but not yet passed into law. So the city of New York or whatever has said, hey, this shit's off the table for you guys in New York. Not like the state, just New York City.
New York City, okay.
Just New York City. Because the state, that would be totally different, which they do have it on the docks for that, but it hasn't gone through yet, which it probably won't. I'm just saying. But New York City, on the other hand, yeah, now if they did it if they did it through the whole state, good luck on that. But again, what could happen is that the federal government can step in and still give them that qualify. They can still step in
if it goes to federal.
If
they get federal charges,
right? If they get federal charges, but because we have Trump in office, what he could do is he could say, "Well, go ahead and go down and make this a federal thing, and then they would be protected."
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Because remember, the Fed can take your state case and make it federal. They ain't got to keep it there. They can take it.
Well, and the crazy part is because when you look at it, the Empire PD has operating budget that's bigger than some countries' military budget.
Correct.
And so, how much of this money, like since they've been getting these lawsuits for them jokers acting crazy, how much money does it take? It almost feels like, okay, so they're like, all right, well, just sue us, we'll just pay it. Like now we've crossed that threshold. Like just sue. It used to be, well, we just put your money where your mouth is, but they're like, all right, well, we got the money, so just sue us, we'll pay it. We'll just get another grant from the government.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, for anybody listening, so what we're talking about qualifying immunity, and so the other one is the federal level, which is qualified immunity, is a federal legal document that still applies to state and local officials in federal court and state officials in state courts that have not been acted to end it. So what does that mean? That means that on a federal level, ain't nobody trying to end qualified immunity, period. So what does qualified immunity mean? It is a legal document that shields government officials, including law enforcement officers, from liability in civil lawsuits unless, and here's the thing, unless their conduct violates clearly established, say that again, clearly established statutory or constitutional rights. Whatever, right? So when George Floyd is sitting there screaming, "I can't breathe," what that basically means is a person has the right to be protected, period. Even though they may be a piece of shit, drug addict, whatever. You can't kill them. By killing that person willy-nilly, it's a direct strike against his constitutional rights, period, regardless of what color the man is. And you did it in front of a whole bunch of people while you were in uniform. So people can say all day long, well, no, you can breathe with somebody's knee on the back of your neck.
Let's test it.
Like, oh, get on down.
Let's test it.
Let's see that. Put your hands behind your back. We're gonna handcuff you, and I'm gonna put my knee on your neck for 9 minutes. How much you want to bet you don't make it to 5?
It's called positional asphyxia. And we used to have to train staff against, if a kid went down to the floor, you instantly, if you had to do a safety hold, instantly, as soon as they go down to the floor, you're off of them. Because in a prone position, it is really, really easy to kill somebody in a prone position, even if you don't mean to, which I don't think that was the case. I don't think, because when you look at Derek Chauvin's history,
the way that man looked at him while he was doing that to him. Fuck out of here.
Well, when you look at his history, he had done that to multiple people. He had just done it a couple months ago. And I think they had taken him to court behind that, and it got thrown out. And so in a prone position, and now you're talking now this is professional talk here. The reason why prone restraints are dangerous is because they have a higher risk of killing somebody. That's why if your kid ever gets sent to one of these work camps or anything, or they get shipped to somewhere, you need to be very clear and ask them, do they do prone restraints? And if they do, you need to bring it up in court. And say, they do prone restraints. Can we find a place that doesn't do prone restraints? Because prone restraints can kill people. And
they do kill them.
They do kill people.
They can. They do.
You know, I had an entire live stream I was going to do the other day about all that stuff that's happening in Kearney, bro. What happens when you have a group in authority that has no oversight?
Well, what's going on in Kearney?
Oh man, that little boy that got molested out in the youth care, the YRTC in Kearney.
No.
Oh, so okay, this is kind of an aside, but it kind of falls into what we're talking about in terms of government accountability, right? So, the YRTC, the Youth Rehabilitation Center in Kearney, for a long time was independent of courts. Like now they barely have court oversight, but beforehand, if your kid got sent to the YRTC in Kearney, they were no longer court involved. They are a ward of, basically they're property of Kearney. They're on juvenile probation, or parole or whatever. They were on, but they're basically, Kearney was their ward. Like they were their guardian essentially. So they had no oversight. Well, apparently, this little boy, this little kid, and I'm not, 17 is still a kid to me. I don't care what anybody says. 17 is a child to me.
Yeah.
But one of the staff had a sexual relationship with this boy. And Kearney they knew about it and they reported it to nobody. And you know what they did? They found out about it. And then they kept writing reports talking about this kid's behavior, lashing out and not taking accountability or anything. When they were sending it to his mom, didn't say a word about what happened. They tried to cover it up. And this is not the first case. They've done this multiple times. This is the one that's most recent. And the reason why they could get away with it is they have no oversight. Nobody's paying any attention to what they do. They've operated with impunity for years.
I mean, I get that, but statutory rape is still statutory rape.
Exactly. It is. And the only reason that woman got arrested was because people said, hey, what's going on here? And then all of a sudden the state patrol's doing an investigation and arrest her. But they didn't report it to the judge. They didn't report it to his mom. They didn't report it to the state, anybody. They just kind of kept it internal and fired her. But then said he was acting out, like it wasn't a reaction or anything to what happened with this staff member.
Right.
No oversight. You cannot trust institutions with no oversight. I don't understand how people.
No.
You can't. Any institution that has no oversight is a rogue institution, and people are going to get hurt. And she had been molesting this boy for all this time. And they fired her. They released her. Yeah, they released her. Yeah, they're not allowed. It's automatic legal charge. It's against the law. In the state of Nebraska, it's against the law for them to have sexual contact with an inmate because an inmate can't consent. Regardless of how they say it, inmate is a ward of a state. They can't consent to a sexual relationship, especially a child.
But well, I mean, that's for now. Okay. But from what they're trying to apparently do is give the age of consent. What is it, 14?
Yeah. But even then, inmate can't. It's illegal for an inmate to consent to a sexual relationship. Instantly, that person, the initiator, the person working in the position of power, is up on charges. Supposedly, Kearney tried to cover it up. And the reason why they tried to cover it up because they've been getting away with a lot of stuff up until all these years. It was crazy when I had kids at Kearney, bro. Some of the stuff they did was absolutely insane. And they knew, well, who's going to check me? Because they have full control over whether that kid gets to go home, whether they get placed if like they get total control. They get to dictate exactly what happens to this kid. So they're in a position where you have a kid that got molested under your care, and then you're saying, well, now he's acting out, and because he's acting out, we need to hold on to him for longer. But they're not providing any other kind of care to address the sexual abuse that happened. But then they're telling his mom, well, he's still acting out. He can't come home because he's acting out. Filthy work, bro. Filthy work. But that's what happens when you have no oversight. So I don't trust institutions like that. I don't trust institutions. I don't trust what people are telling me. So it goes back to your larger question. When they say, well, the cartel is doing X, Y, and Z. Okay, I need evidence of that.
Gotcha.
Because it sounds like
show me.
Yeah, it sounds like you're saying something to give them more unilateral powers to do things that they're not supposed to be doing.
Gotcha.
Is what I'm saying. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at I'm trying to find I found it. Was it a chick doing this to a man?
Yes. Because if it was a male to a girl, then it wouldn't be. It would have been a big deal. But even I don't think it would have been a big deal. Like they wouldn't have treated it like a big deal if it was an older woman on a little girl. Like these institutions, because they don't have any real oversight. The only time they ever get oversight is when they get in trouble. Like I remember Carney got in trouble. Was it early 2000s because of some of the stuff they were doing, where they had kids taking down other kids and putting them in prone restraints and stuff like that. And it culminated with one of the counselors up there almost getting beaten half to death by the kids because it was such an out of control situation. They almost shut it down again. They're setting the stage for that to happen. Like I said, be aware of any institution that requires complete and total control with no oversight.
Oh, wow.
And I can see why the mom was mad, because I would have been raising hell. I would absolutely been ready to burn that entire place down. I would have absolutely been ready. I would have actually that would have been what they call it, a crash. That would have been an absolute crash out if that happened to my kid. And then they tried to cover it up and then used the abuse that they endured as a reason why to keep them for longer and to punish them and make it look like they're screwing up in the courts when they report back to the courts and everything. Vile.
And this motherfucker is being molested.
Yeah. Vile. Absolutely vile. But people don't understand, like, when they just give blind subservience to these institutions. And institutions can be an institution like Carney, the youth rehabilitation something center in Carney. It could be ICE. It can be local or whatever. When you have no oversight, when you have an institution that's unaccountable to anybody, you're setting the stage for abuse.
Oh, dude, motherfucker, that's have you ever read the book? Matter of fact, I'm gonna grab this book so you can see it. But there's a book that talks about that. Hold on one second. It's called The Lucifer Effect.
I've heard of it.
Man, this is one of the best. This to me is one of the best books on this stuff. It's called The Lucifer Effect. It is literally one of the best books you will ever read, just on. And it's just about what you just said, just there, man. Fucking people not having any accountability for certain shit. Can you see it?
Yep.
Yeah, this is the
Philip Zimbardo. I've heard of him.
Yep. Yeah. Like again, and the subtitles really hooked me. Understanding how good people turn evil. This is also the same guy who did the prison Stanford experiment.
Yep.
Man, that shit was so good. It was so good. And that's why I think I still love sociology. Still to this day. It's literally because of him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um,
So
another book too is Obedience to Authority by Stanley Milgram. Um, he did the white coat experimentation. Another book,
about enclosed cognition, where you put people in different outfit uniforms or outfits, and they embody specific traits based on what they're wearing.
no, no,
Okay.
this one is like during the Nuremberg trials when people kept saying I was just doing my job.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay.
He put them in white coats and had the one person shock the other person every time they
I
got
remember
the
that.
answer wrong. That's what they. Matter of fact, there's a whole Netflix movie about it. But like, and I think we talked about this too on our podcast as well. But it's just one of those things that's just really cool to know. And then there's another book that I read called Shoot Anything That Moves. And it's basically about what happens when you give 17 to 18-year-old kids automatic weapons and send them to another country. And there's no oversight, there's no accountability. And then you expect them to gain that type of accountability while they're there. So that's the reason why a lot of the Vietnamese people called as murderers, rapists. So I mean, they were doing things to them because again, there was no accountability. And the title of the book is "Shoot Anything That Moves," and the reason why it was called "Shoot Anything That Moves" is because before they went to war, that's what one of their commanding officers told them. What do we do when we get there? Shoot anything that moves. And that's exactly what they did.
Well, and so here's one for you to look up: South Korean adoption. Those kids are our age. So you heard about that one, right?
Not at all.
There's a lady. She's Korean, but she lives, I think, in Tennessee or something. So she has this really deep accent, and she talks about how essentially she was sold to her parents in the U.S. And so basically, it was South Korean adoption was a large scale program that began after the Korean War to send orphaned and socially undesirable children to Western countries. And so they would have these big, huge camps where women and girls were forced into prostitution. And the largest customer of these towns, like there were entire towns, were American GIs.
Wow.
And they would impregnate these women who were forced into this, and then essentially the South Korean government would essentially sell the babies to adoption agencies in the United States.
Fuck.
Yeah, and that's why there's a lot that you see that a lot where
I ain't gonna lie to you, that does make a lot of sense though.
that's why and I'm an adoptee. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm an adoptee.
That makes a lot of sense.
When we start talking about like we adopted this kid from Haiti or China or Africa, that instantly puts my antenna up. Not because the person that did it knows what happened, but a lot of times these kids are stolen and put into these orphanages because a Haitian can't adopt a Haitian kid.
Really?
A lot of these orphanages will not adopt a Haitian to an Haitian family. A lot of those agencies, adoption agencies, won't even let a black family adopt a Haitian kid. An American black family adopt. They wouldn't let it happen. And essentially, it comes down to these adoption agencies are basically human. Some of these adoption agencies in some of these countries are human trafficking. And they're essentially selling kids to people that think that they're doing, helping these kids out, where really what they're really doing is facilitating a kidnapping, but they don't know. Okay. And that's what happened with the South Korean adoption. A lot of these people didn't know that these kids actually had parents who they were literally ripped away from and sold.
I mean, is that why they put them in prostitution?
They did it because it was profitable. And so she was saying one of the things that was really insidious was, so the parents on the United States would get all the adoption papers and see a picture of the baby that they're supposed to be adopting. And if something happened, like they accidentally killed the baby or something in South Korea, they would just grab another kid and swap them in and then send them over.
Okay, say that one more time.
So the lady was talking about in the South Korean adoption thing, the way it worked out was so the adopting parents would get the paperwork, basically saying this is the kid's name and get a picture of it. So get a picture of the baby so that they could get acclimated to the baby or whatnot. Well, she said a lot of times, and this was her story, the baby that they showed in the picture didn't survive. And so they would just take another kid from somebody else
Jesus.
and just slap them in there and then ship them off and sell them off to the United States to this adoptive family. And she says, my parents didn't know what exactly they were a party to, but it was something that was happening, and it was government sanctioned and approved. And somebody in the US knew what was going on, but they didn't say anything.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I don't trust institutions with no oversight because there's so many abuses that can happen. Real quick, guys, before I forget, because I said I would do this. It's me holding myself accountable. So I did do, and sorry if it comes out of left field, y'all. I have taken all the stuff I taught when I was showing Fearless, all the stuff about recording himself and stuff like that. I took it and put it into a course and opened up a community. So there's a QR code if you guys are interested.
Oh, nice. I like that. Let me go to it. I like that. It's gonna take. Give me a second.
It's called the content creation or the content to cash machine. And basically it teaches business owners how to create content to drive business, not to go viral. And so the first section I have in there is teaching a lot of the logistics of recording yourself, where there's audio, video, like the basics, and then a little bit of copywriting stuff so you know what to say on camera. And I'm building this out. I want to build this and make this a whole community for business owners so that they can learn the ins and outs. And it doesn't just end with video, because I'm doing other modules, but we're starting with video, but we're going to get into blog writing. We're going to get into taking photos, podcasting, all that stuff that business owners can do to drive business for themselves. So that's what I got out there. If you want to learn, and I tried to take a lot of stuff I taught Fearless and put it in there. So if you want to learn, jump in there. I'm doing, was it $97 for the first 10 members, and then they get lifetime access, and then it'll go to a monthly retainer, monthly fee, a monthly and annual fee, if that makes sense. So yeah, I've been working on that. I've been busting my ass on that for like the last 3 weeks.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I got. That's what I wanted to throw out there, just so that people can see it and jump in there if they're interested. And it just slaps that QR code right on over the top of our logo there.
Yeah, that's I like it. So,
but yeah, man, this is a good conversation. It went a lot of different places, bro. I like this.
QR, I like that. Get that QR code going. Okay.
Yeah, it's under the media assets, and then you just put the name of.
I know. I'm looking right at it. That looks good. I like that. Okay. Hell yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, guys, take care of yourselves. And like I said, we put resources in the comments. If you're local, please take advantage of those resources. If you can help out however you can. But we're heading into a time where it's going to be a crunch for a lot of people, and a lot of people who weren't previously in pain or have never experienced pain are about to be in pain. There's no other way to put it. I don't know how long this government shutdown is. The cynical part of me says it's shut down pretty much indefinitely. It may never open again, but I don't think I think the residual pain will get too much where it's right up. It runs right up until the point of where people are about to revolt in the streets, and then they'll open it back up. So we'll see what happens. But yeah,
I mean, but again, I'm sure people are not going to really take us up on this or whatever. But if you guys need any help, if you guys need to talk, I am here. I think my how did I get out of it? I'll go to Call Fearless or even Ask Fearless. I think callfearless.com. I think that's my handle is. If you guys just need to talk, air some shit out, I'm here.
Drop a QR, make a QR code, drop it on there so they can
I'll,
scan it.
I'll do that. We'll do that after we're done with the
Okay.
thing. But like, yeah, man. Because I know you guys are scared, and some of you are going through some shit or whatever. And this is kind of what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not gonna make everything okay, but what I will do is I will try to simplify things a little bit for you. I will also try to help you develop some skills to stay calm during this pretty tumultuous time. So
Yep. And I don't know how this is gonna land, y'all, but if you're looking for a way to scramble up side hustle, side income, you want to flesh it out, I'm your guy. You guys know how to reach me. But if not, it's mail@isellwords.net. That's MAIL at ISELLWORDS.net. Hit me up if you guys ever like if you're looking for if you have that thing like, okay, I gotta scramble up some side income. I don't necessarily have a lot of time. I'll sit down and consult with you and figure out what kind of job you need to pursue, what opportunities are there for you to make money independently, because I've done it all. So
yeah, matter of fact, yeah, I think I'll do that too. I think I'm gonna create an Ask Fearless Gmail. I'm just saying, like, yeah, that might be a good idea too. Just something real quick.
Because it's about to really test your resolve. And so one of the reasons why we named this Trying to Thrive While Trying to Survive is being in survival mode will absolutely take you out of a mode where you're able to thrive. And it's hard to do both at the same time. It's hard to hold those two thoughts in your head, but sometimes you're going to have a hard pivot. Right now, and it's not fear mongering or anything. Right now, we're about to see one of the biggest mass layoffs in Silicon Valley history go down.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's, let me double check. I think it's Amazon.
No.
But let me see. It might not be Amazon, but yeah, mass layoffs at Amazon. Amazon may cut 30,000 corporate jobs.
I mean, what do they do? I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, what do
these
they
are
do?
going to be like logistics people, HR, quality assurance. A lot of times it's going to be the people that are that monitor safety to make sure people don't get sucked into the packing machines.
Sucked into the.
I'm not lying. And so those are the ones that normally get cut. IT that makes sure that your credit card doesn't get hacked. Like those are the people that normally go first. Cybersecurity always goes first. So
why? Because they get paid the most.
Because they're seen as most expendable. But then there's a big huge, because here's the thing, there's no cynical part of me. There's no real consequences for when one of these companies has a big data breach. And more times than not, it's because they fired all the people whose job it was to prevent the data breach from happening. But since there's no real consequences, they don't really face any real any real charges or consequences for it. They're fine with the data breach up until a point, because then they'll go out and apologize, say, we had a data breach, we let everybody know, so change your passwords, and that's about the extent of it. So they fire those people. Amazon here's CNN. Amazon just cut 14,000 jobs and it's not done. Amazon and Paramount, Skydance's layoffs, a massive corporate reset. So it's hitting all sectors of the economy, y'all. So sometimes you're forced into a side hustle, and it's not always a part-time job. If you need something and you want to sit down and talk about it, you got to hit me up.
Yeah,
I'll talk you through it.
Yeah, if you just need to talk, I'm here.
Yep. So that's what we're offering, guys. That's all I got, y'all. Fearless, I'll chop it up with you in a second.
Yep.
You have anything else for him?
Nope. Just hit me up at Ask Fearless. I'll probably set up something in a second, and I'll create the QR codes and all that shit in a minute.
All right. So we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.